features are not solutions. So let me explain this. I've been brought into a company recently to do some work for them, a software development company. And while I do software development, my role is really more meeting with clients to find out about their projects, what their projects do and what they would like for them to do. And I was brought in a couple days ago, had a meeting with a client who's been pretty dissatisfied with their project to date. The features for the most part work. The big issue is not the features, it's that the project isn't delivering what the client needs. And so we sat down, and I think there were people who thought we were going to go over the features and how we could improve them. And really what I did is I asked 3 questions. And the 3 questions I asked are similar in form to questions I ask almost every client I meet with. And those questions were, the first one was to the manager, the owner. And I said, what do you use this data for? And the second question was, what do your salespeople use this data for? They were a sales organization, so that was specific to that. And then the last question I asked is, what do you wish this tool would do that would make your life easier? So none of those questions really had specific features. I was trying to find out about his business. And this is the problem that I often find with IT professionals, software developers who are highly technically focused. They become technically motivated. And so they're looking at the features they can build. And so many times the features are not what's important. I mean, let's scratch that. We'll get back to when features are important. But really what was important is understanding the business. So this is kind of my lesson and my admonishment to those people who work in tech that may run into this problem. If you want to have happier clients, if you want to have projects that really solve a problem, you've got to do a couple things. So the first is this: you have to care. And it seems obvious, and yet the number of times I meet with software developers who really don't understand the business they're serving. What do you guys do? That's a really basic question. Let me know. I'm passionate about learning about my client's business. I want to view it as though it's my business. So when I'm building a tool, I can preemptively think of things that, man, if I was running this, I think this would be important, so that I could bring things up to the client that maybe they haven't even thought of. Or perhaps, and this is often the case, they're bound by the myth of limitations. The myth of limitations is this idea that they only know what they know about technology. So perhaps they're defining things based on that reality. As a matter of fact, during this meeting, the client kept saying, it would be great if, or do you think there's a way it might be able to do X? And some of the times he even pulled that back. He said, you know what I'd really love? If there was a way, oh no, no, I don't want to talk about it. And I said, no, let's open up the floodgates. What do you wish it could do? What were you going to tell me? How would that help you? And more often than not, those were things that were right there. They were built into what we had already done. I said, that's really nothing. A simple one, for instance, the way the data was sorted. It was just not helpful to him. Even that was fixed in a single line of code while we were having the conversation. We literally did the update and said, would this be more helpful? He was, wow, that would be great. And by the time we were done with our meeting, he was excited about the project again. In fact, he had given a verbal okay. He said, look, we need this stuff built. So if you can do that, if it can deliver what you're saying, I'm going to give you an okay for the next 2 weeks to do some software development. Let's open up this project. Let's get this done. And the only thing he asked, he said, don't bill me all at the end, just bill incrementally over time, and let's get this project working. So he turned from being very dissatisfied to possibly canceling the project to actually okaying further development. And that really just came about from me trying to understand what he needed, what he did in his day-to-day, what his business was. And so that's the first thing. You have to care about the business. You have to think about it as though it's yours. And that lets you preemptively come up with things that would help you if you were running that business. And the second thing is just ask them to educate you about what they do. And that kind of dovetails with what, caring about the business. Be passionate about learning about your client's business. I've just found that over 25 years of consulting that I am always interested and really become a a passionate learner about my client's business, not about the project at hand. I want to know the sum total of the entire business, and I want to have some idea of how these pieces fit together. I think it makes you better at building solutions. And so what I like to say is, if you understand the business, if you understand the solution, the features will write themselves. So remember, features are not solutions. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, like the video, share it, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much.